I was quite too far. She was really a party person, really someone that doesn't sit down. She goes to work, party. Yeah, her life was on track. She was like so fun.
Charley's life before. She's a naughty girl. She was a naughty girl. A jumpy one. A happy one, a crazy one. Her life was not all that so complicated. It was a normal life, but she was a girl who always kept herself happy.
At the time, she used to go about her other business. They would go hang out sometime. But then for us, we meet every Wednesday and she would always come and be a part of us. So that was maybe her life. I think at the time she was maybe running from God.
In 2018, it was on NRMD, January 26th. That day, she went to work. After work, I told her that we go for fellowship at my church. She was like, "Mommy, I had a hectic day." So she said she was tired, she wanted to rest. I insisted. She refused. I went to church and left her here. When I came back at around 10 in the night, she was not around. I was like, is she coming back or not? Because she used to sometimes to go and not come back because I wanted to close that door. So they were like, but she said she was coming. I said, let me call her. When I called her, she was not picking. So I decided to close that door. I closed it.
That evening of January 26th, 2018, we were going for, like Mom said, she was going for fellowship. She invites me. I tell her no. Mommy, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I am going to stay home today. I think she knew what my life had become that time. That's why she kept wanting to invite me for fellowship, and me, I didn't want. But that day I was really tired because I'd even told Suki. And then I'm like, I'm tired. And then my friends call me. They're like, Charlotte, we are waiting for you. Where you come? So I tell them, okay, I'm on my way. I dress up, put on my heels, as dressed for the party. I tell my sister, you know what, I think I should put on my heels. My sister Sharon, I think I should put on my heels. It may be the last time I might put them on. And she's like, yeah, you put them on. You even look nicer when you have them on. I put on the heels, I go, meet up with my friends. We had a very nice night, very good night. We have laughed and enjoyed.
She did not come back. Very early in the morning, John and the brother came and told me Charlotte has called. A friend of Charlotte has called that she had an accident. An accident?
But I was in shock because the previous night I was the one who locked the door when she was going. she was putting on her high heels. She was all smart. I was like, you're looking smart. And she was like, should I put on my high heels or I put on my shoes, my low shoes? I was like, no, you go in the high heels. They look more sexy, more hot, more hotter. So she was looking good. That evening we were together because we had some plans, big plans for our future. So we had gone somewhere to check on how far our plans were pushing on. So they kept on calling her, and she was like, oh, Suki, you know these people are calling me. And I was like, you girl, it's late. And she was like, I will not go. I'll stay home. But they kept calling her to go for the function because she had made the program with their friends to go. So I was so in shock when they told us that she had really gotten an accident. At some point I blamed myself. I could have stopped her that night because it was already too late. But I was like, you go and have fun. So it was really a shocking phone call. So I came in the morning. I was like, Charlotte, where are you? Let's go to school. And mommy was like, your friend is not around. I left for work. So afterwards, it was after 30 minutes when I left here, I was told, I got a call from mommy. She told me, Suki, your friend has got an accident. But do not tell anyone before we confirm. We had a conference at school. I was in the conference, but I don't know what I was learning in the conference. I had this thing at heart. So afterwards, mommy called me back and she confirmed.
I got a phone call, I think, from one of our friends. And they told me she had gotten an accident, she had been taken to Lifelink, and then after to Nakuru. So that is the time they called me when they had taken her to Nakuru. And the fact that I walked along Lugogo bypass, I could not get leave, but I left early that day to go and check on her in hospital.
I was washing things in the kitchen that morning. So my brother picked up the phone call. I was like, they told us that she had gotten an accident. But they weren't specifying what it was, and they weren't telling us the whole situation. So I was just there panicking, washing things but panicking. So I told Mom, you know what? I don't know what has happened, Charlotte. Either we're finding her when she's dead or when she's alive. Because they weren't really specifying. So it kind of really gave us that shock that maybe she has passed on. My brother went to hospital. He was the one that received the phone call and picked it up. Mom had really jumped to go. She refused to go. I was like, you know what, Mom, I know you're tired, but please let us go because we can't really tell what's on the ground right now because they weren't really telling us anything.
So when he told me, I was like, thank God she's alive. I'm not going there. I told her to come with me for fellowship. She refused. Let her be there with the friends. We were here, we moved, I went for fellowship, we prayed. Like at around midday, the sister and Sharon was like, Mommy, she still remains our blood. We should go and see what is going on. And the friends kept on calling, but I did not feel that heart of going there. So when the sister told me, I was like, okay, let us go. Then I called the dad. He told me, okay, I'm coming. Because he was at work. So we went. On reaching Charley, Link Hospital, I found her there. The leg was just like, I don't know, it was expanding. I checked her, I did not see anything. There was no scratch, there's no what. I was like, what happened? Then she told me that they were dropping a friend. Then the car got stuck. She stood in front of it when they were trying to push it. It was like on a perimeter wall. where they dropped the friend. So for her, because she trusted herself, she was fat, and she thought she was, I think, that strong one.
At the end of the night, we had to drop one of my friends, Anita, at her place. She stays in Charley, Wajala. She used to stay in Charley, Wajala. So on dropping her, in front of her gate, there was a small trench. You know, some houses have those small trenches. So the car gets stuck there, and we tried to push it out of that car trench. Me, I was tired. I was intoxicated and very, very tired. So I stand in front of the gate. I had called people to come and help my friends. Like me, I'm tired, I can't help you guys. I stand in front of the gate. So these guys are pushing. It reaches that point where you just need a little push. And they just start to accelerate a little. So this guy was parking at his place. He's like, let me help. He enters the car. And I think he was also intoxicated, so he oversteps on the accelerator, and the car jumped out of the trench and into me, who was standing at the gate. I blacked out from there. I didn't even see the car coming. I blacked out. All I could hear were my friends saying, "But now you're not going to." And after that, I didn't hear anything else. But according to my friends who were there, they told me they moved the car where they got me from there, and my leg was swelling extremely. I had gotten internal bleeding. I didn't have any cut or anything like a scratch on me. They rushed me to Lifelink, Charley Wajala, where I was given first aid. And in the morning, because that night, the friend we were dropping was the only person who could tell these people how to get a number to contact my family. But she told them, I'm tired, I'll come later. And these people who didn't know me, like they only knew me as a person, but they didn't know anything else about me, were the ones who stayed in hospital with me. They had to wait for me to wake up so that I could give them a contact to call, like my family and all. So next day I wake up, I tell them, you know what, don't call my mom, call my brother. Because if you call my mom, me in my head, pressure zijamukuba. I didn't even worry that she was going to get pissed. But I think first she thinks I was worried that she was going to get pissed. Me, I was worried about pressure because I knew she had pressure that time. So I was worried, weba mugamba, hizo zilika, wazike fembi. Because I didn't think I was going to survive that whole thing. I didn't think I would get out of that hospital.
Why did they call me? She told them not to call me because I was going to call. So I told her brother to go and see how she was. They told us she was in Link, Charley Wajala. So the brother went. When he reached there, he found her there, and that thigh was swollen. And when he tried to talk to her, she was like, "Why do you look at me like that?" So the brother got annoyed and went out without saying anyone. Took a border, came back here. What he told me was like, "Thank God she's alive, but the thigh is swollen." So I don't know, because when I tried looking at her to ask her, she was that bitter.
My brother comes and he looked at me. In my head, I had all these negative thoughts. I do not like people looking at me with pity. So when he looked at me, I was like, what? Like, you're already judging me? Bambi kumbe, for him, he was looking at me with like, oh my God, my sister. Like later when he talked about it, that's what he told me. But me, I was just looking at him like, why is he pitying me? Like, is he judging me already, saying, we told you? Because in the whole family, I was the one person who was like the party animal. Then later, he leaves and I stay in the hospital. And the next thing I remember is seeing my dad and my mom there with me. They discharge us. They take us to Naguru Chinese Hospital. That's where we were transferred.
advised us to go to Nagu because the money they wanted we couldn't afford. So we drove to Nagu. The doctor followed us there because he works there. He told us the money they wanted. They took her to the theater. They told us that they were trying to put that thing together, that big nerve which supplies. But after like 2 days, the leg started changing the color.
And I am a very keen person. Like, I usually scrutinize things. I'm like, why is this like this? So I go and then I look at her leg. It had started turning black. So the fact that I was inquisitive, I'm like, hey, where is the doctor? I'm like, they're like, the doctor will come around later. I'm like, can you feel your leg? She's like, no, I cannot. I'm like, so I kept on touching her and she said, I can't feel anything, but it had turned black. So the doctor comes around and I'm like, so why is her leg black and why isn't she feeling anything? Before I know it, the guy starts checking and I'm like, let me move out of the room so that you can check properly. He goes like, you're not going anywhere. Find a torch. I think on that day there were so many emergencies happening. Pregnant ladies that had to enter the theater. Power was also different things were happening. I was like, I need to check the leg now. Where is your phone? Put the light. Before I know it, he had gotten, I don't know what it's called, like a knife, something like a surgical knife. They had already stitched her up, and he told me you need to like hold and recut. And he said the pressure was building at that very time, and are they called toxins? They were moving up towards the heart, and he was like, it's an emergency. We need to act on it very quickly, otherwise we should lose her.
There was a cut behind my knee that kept worrying me. I kept telling these people, like, there's this cut, but it's something no one is minding. And then we talk about it with Sharon. The doctors take me in for the first surgery where they had to put in the plate. They put it in. I start moving. They tell me, they give me a walking aid to start moving, to learn how to walk. Before the amputation, like the leg was okay. That whole week were fine, but I kept getting sicker, and then the leg kept turning dark. The doctors tell me, like, we need to take you in the second time to see what's up. They take me in, and on checking, they found one of the veins, the main vein, was torn. And apparently, if it's not repaired within 8 hours, there's no chance of feeding. But they kept trying all they knew. They kept trying everything they had in mind. So I was like, okay, now out of surgery, I think I'm fine. And they're like, let's see how this goes. If it gets worse, we shall have to check you in again.
They took her a second time. They invited me and said, but we don't know what is happening. There is no improvement and the leg is starting to die out. Again, they cut and pulled, tried to fix it. We came, we stayed there, was it over 1 day or 2 days? These toys dried up, they became black, and even when you touched or tried to bend it, it could not bend. The doctors came, tried to pierce, see if she can feel anything. She was not feeling anything. Instead, the leg was becoming black. The consultant of Ulbaga is married to my auntie. And my dad said, let me call Dr. Triaba, I can see what he says. When he came, he was like, if you want this girl alive, let her go to theater right now. And they removed the leg. And we were like, how they removed the leg? So they took her again to the theater. They took pictures on opening. They showed me how the muscles were like. When you boil meat, when it is starting to boil, there's a way it changes color. That's how the color of her before was in the body. They were like, this one can't survive. I said, we have to remove the leg. They brought the forms, I signed. She refused.
So the third time, for them, they took me into theater with plans of amputation. Because my mom had agreed. But me, I had it. So when they reached, they're telling me all this stuff they're explaining. I'm like, no. You have to give me time. I can't accept you to cut my leg. Like, what next? So they do some more stuff to see if it can help the vein recuperate, and so that my leg is not cut. So the time they told us that they're going to amputate her leg, I was like, no, doctors, maybe we can first wait. Maybe God will do something. A last miracle that we're expecting. So we are there. I told Charlotte that down in my heart, I was still calm because I had received a message before. But God was like, that is His will. I was in hospital and God was like, that is my will, that is my will. So I told her, Charlotte, God is saying this is His will, but we are always going to be there for you no matter what happens. She was there crying, like not even understanding anything. She was like, now Sharon, what am I going to do? I just kept on looking at her because I had nothing to say. I was so mad, I was so annoyed, I was so pissed because I kept on asking myself why.
I felt torn apart. Really, I felt like it was mine, but we were like, if we feel bad, now what's going into her mind? How is she feeling? We put our pain aside and we all were the happiness, because she still had the life. It was just her leg going, but the life was still on. So only that gave us hope for a better life, and indeed it's a better life.
We were all in denial. That is what I can say. We were all in denial. It is something we did not expect coming. The fact that they said there was a fracture on the bone, we thought it was something very minor. So that very night I go to my room. I remember sitting down to pray, and I had a voice telling me, that leg is going. And at first I was like, that cannot be God. How can that leg go? So I heard the voice again, that leg is going, but pray for her and pray for the people that are surrounding her, that they will come through this situation stronger and they'll be able to stand with her through it.
She had started feeling pains of what they told her that when you are about to die, you start, the organs start losing. You feel pain, you feel weak and she had started getting those signs. So I was like, Charlotte, get your phone. Phone was not there. I gave her mine. She googled. She saw everything, read about everything that happens. She was like, call me the nurses. I went called them. Give me the form, I signed. She signed. I took her theater.
And it's my turn to enter, and Current goes. And we're like, what's up? So people upstairs, like, I am a very, I don't know whether to say social or friendly person, but like the hospital was all filled up with my friends, so they were all being told, like, electricity has gone, so you people have to be in prayer, pray for your friend. So everyone upstairs was praying apparently. And then once we are with the doctors, they are figuring out what to do for me. Since electricity has gone, the person in charge of the neonatal is not around, he went with the key. So their only option was to use natural light from the ventilators. And they had this portable device that could measure your heart rate and your pressure and all. So it's what they used to go on with the surgery. They amputate the leg. In the middle of amputation, I woke up and it was still early for me to wake up, I think, because being someone who was always drinking, I think it had an effect on the medicine. So they had to put me to sleep again, and I woke up after amputation and I was so irritated by everything. All I wanted to do was see my mother and go upstairs. And they were all in shock. Like, people were like surprised that I was in that mood, because like the whole hospital knew me as this happy person. Like, all my visitors, I told them, you should not come when you're crying or you're sad. I only want to see happy faces.
We were allowed to see her, but she was in a really bad mood. So I think she had, during the time, I remember sending her a book that she had to read. And after, her mood started improving. She got to realizing this is life now. The jolly self came back. She started being a strength to the people in the hospital room, that different people were around that were sick. But even the nurses would notice that there is a different change in this person. So from that time, she didn't have that much depression because she got to prayer. She got to realizing that I'm not going to die. The fact that I have not died now, I am not about to die.
And I find this whole line of people waiting to see me. They were all praying for me, and I am there. I'm telling Jojo, help me scratch my leg, because I didn't, like, I knew they had cut off my leg, but it was itching. So I'm telling her, help me scratch my leg. And she's like, which leg? Some people thought I had gone mad. Everyone was in the room was like, is she okay? Like, they kept saying, check dagaisha muliku mutwe. And I was like, no, you scratch my leg. So the doctor later explained to them, like, that happens, that's the phantom limb. So don't think she's running mad, because for them they're already worried. They're like, she has lost it.
They removed the leg. She came out from there. Took her back to the ward. But after that operation, I don't know what happened. Strange things started happening. For her, others get infections, the wounds don't go. But for her, everything was very fast. Healing. I was like, what is happening? I said, I think God is in this. Within like 2 weeks, they started putting her on these crutches to practice how to walk on one leg or whatever. She tried.
So I go into another phase of physiotherapy. Dr. Edwin was very patient with me because he knew I was this girl of Chejo. I was spoiled. To him, he thought I was spoiled. So he teaches me how to use crutches first, which was a hassle. But before the crutches, I went back to the walking aid. Using the walking aid, I was scared I'm going to fall, because like, I am now on one leg. And then they take me to learn how to use crutches on stairs. Oh my God. You know, like you look at 5 steps and you see like there are 100, because you're seeing, how am I climbing these stairs on one leg? Yes, crutches are there, but you know you can't trust them. But slowly I got better. I got to learn how to use them, and the exercises I was told to do. And I later found out I was among the lucky few that get physiotherapy. I think it was done in like 3 days. They discharged me. I come back home with my mom.
And before the wound closed completely, we were discharged. We came here and everything was normal. She was strong. She was not even feeling what happened to her, like, hey, I've lost my leg, how am I going to live, what is going to happen? She would be like, everything is going to be fine.
I think it was much simpler, and apart from the parts where I always forgot that I don't have a leg and I would fall. So that week of being discharged, I'm all excited. We are here with my friends, my mom, we have, life is going on. The next day I go to work. everyone was against it, but my mom was very in support of it. She's like, yeah, you go, it will even help you, not think about the situation. That is one of the things I think helped me heal faster, because I wasn't in my room all the time overthinking about things. I decided to go out there and not let this situation define me. That first day at work, my boss sent someone to pick me and drop me back. On dropping me, I was so excited. I'd gone through that day successfully with no problem. So I'm entering that door and I want to say bye to that poor one, like how it drops me. I'm like, hey, you guys, bye. Meanwhile, this and this, because I always have my small jokes there. So we are busy laughing and I forget that I'm on one leg. So on turning, I tripped. I almost hit my head on that column. I fell onto the stump, and it was already bleeding, so we had to go to hospital the next day. But I couldn't even get off from down there because the pain was excruciating. I think I traumatized everyone in this house, because every time I would fall, everyone would freeze because they would imagine the pain I'm going through. So after a few falls, life became normal. I would fall at work, fall here, fall everywhere, but life became normal. It kind of made me strong, I think, and also realized that nothing will be easy, but I have to keep picking myself up every time I fall.
And then we started the process of looking for the leg, raising the money to get the leg. It was also a long one. I remember us waiting and praying, hoping, how she would be like, you know what, Jojo, when I get my leg, we are going to go hang out, we are going to go for lunch, we are going to go for this. But then it took longer than expected. Yeah, but along the way, God brought in the provision through different avenues, and she was able to get the leg.
I decided to get a prosthetic. It was really expensive. We moved around many orthopedic centers until I finally ended up in Mengo Orthopedic. It's Leo's Orthopedic Center. It's next to Kenjo Supermarket. Like, I got it after 1.5 years. People contributed. I remember, like, anyone who had ever met me or even just seen me on Facebook, because I used to do live feeds. Really, people were there for me. Like, a lot of money came in. I managed to get my leg.
I've seen my sister. I've seen what she can do as an amputee, and I believe people can also do it. I believe in her that since she has done it, then someone else can do it. And it's all about inspiring other people. It's all about being there for them.
What makes me happy on a daily as an amputee is me encouraging others out there. Not only the amputees, but everyone in general, when they see me and how I do my things and how confident I am putting on short things with my prosthetic and how confident I am moving around Kampala, people are inspired. Like, because people are not used to seeing girls putting on short things yet they are disabled, girls putting on short things yet they are amputees. They are not used to seeing that.
It's not to lose hope, because any bad situation comes to you for a reason. I believe it comes for a reason. If the leg goes, there is a chance, a second chance for you, maybe to be a better person or to accomplish what you wanted to accomplish in the future.
So I am deciding to live a different life from everyone else, so that I encourage people to be body positive. I encourage people to be happy in their situation, and also not to let your situation define you or put you down.
I look at her life and where she is now. I look at the life before when she had both legs, and I look at now that she still has her energy. She can do what she wants to do. For example, the baking, you would find her here when everyone else is sleeping, and she's going about it and doing it. You're seeing her in different organizations. I've seen opportunities open up. There's a time she did this modeling gig and fashion show something, and she had to move around. You would share the pictures and people would be like, where does she get her energy? Being disabled is not the end of it all.
She knew that now I have to move on. I don't look at the leg. It is gone, and life must continue. There are some people who have been trying to invite her to go to hospitals. When people have had accidents, maybe they are resisting their legs to be removed or hands. She goes there to encourage them. She has been moving from different places with her friends who are also amputees to help the needy.
Someone in my kind of condition, an amputee, but I don't want to only think of amputees. I like being inclusive. Anyone who is living with a disability, be it amputation, be it visual impaired or speech impaired, all I can say is don't let your situation define who you are. Do you, put you first, make sure you're happy, self-love, and do anything you'd have desired to do even if you aren't in that situation.